Okay, we are live a little early. Yes, we are. Okay. Hey guys, Infidel 1258. Hope you're doing well. I have to change my hotkeys. I don't know if you guys know anything about OBS, but with OBS, you have to hotkeys will transfer from one scene to another, and so I didn't mean to pop on just yet, but that's okay. I'm happy and I'm here, and see some people are already here, so let's chat anyways. Today is going to be a bit open-ended. I'm happy to go in different directions depending on what you guys want to talk about. And there's some updates I could provide. There's also some stuff like around, it's getting toward the end of the season and end of October as well, which means that the Splinter Coach data is pretty exciting. I did that recent video talking about Splinter Coach, and I think there's tons to be learned in there and gleaned from that. This is not a paid promotion in case anybody thinks, oh, Dwayne's just shilling. I just like it, and they do not pay me to talk about it. I just enjoy the content. Now, in the past, to be fair, they have given me compensation. They gave me a free account, but I currently pay for my account with my own money, and I do so because I just like it. And so it's a genuine enjoyment that I bring to it, and I talk about it not just because I like it, but because I think it's interesting. Like I shared this with Jangles in Discord. But I actually love talking about stats from a perspective of like understanding. Like I love comprehending complex topics, as you might assume from watching my channel. And and one of the ways that we can do that, and I love doing that, is by diving deep into facts, history, data. And I do this across all my life. And so Splinter Coach does that. So if it sounds like it's a sales pitch, it's not intended to be. It's just my genuine joy of the thing. And I love that it's getting toward the end of the month because the data can be divided across months. And that means that I can extract the most relevant information. I can now understand in maybe a fresher way how what specifically is winning right now, right? I don't need as much conjecture. There's not as much complicating data. That there's a term I studied stats in university, and I forget the frame. There's a word that I'm looking for right now, but there's like complicating factors when you're trying to understand data, and you want as few of them as possible. Well, at the end of the month, when I look at, like, when I isolate for October, I know what I'm playing now. If I look at my history or overall or my all-time data, I'm complicating facts because certain cards will have been played more in previous seasons or metas. So anyways, there's stuff I want to look at in here, and I want to look at some of my Rebellion pickups. And I'm talking about lore because I'm talking about I keep forgetting the card from the Life Splinter that provides the Armored Strike. Rebellion Legendaries is what I'm talking about. I want to better understand how those summoners are working for me, and within which context. Ooh, a new SPS poll has been published. Check that. There's tons of things I want to talk about. Plus, with these lives, I definitely just want to hang out. So whatever you guys are interested in, let's talk about it. Just market fees, eh? Do adjust listing fees. Are we going to increase it or decrease it? I haven't read this at all, and I don't want to thanks for all the feedback so far. It seems like a scratch. This draft message received. Okay. So that's a no. Okay, so they wanted to increase it. And that looks like it's being shot down. What about adjust listing fees? Okay, 2-minute read. Based on feedback from comments, I'm making the following change to the draft proposal. The proposal passes. The listing fee for cards on the marketplace, both sale and rental, will be increased from 1 to 5 DEC. Interesting. 5 DEC will be burned. This should help increase the aggressive repricing, which, yeah. I like being... This is one of those moments where I hope people see there's an interesting story that can be told in this proposal. And it's not about the proposal itself. It's about the understanding of the community that you're participating in when you get involved in Splinterlands. So listen to this. What this tells me And hopefully what you'll see when I talk about my opinion on proposals such as this is that not the participants within this space are not exclusively seeking their own personal benefit. And that's rare, and that's important, and it's noteworthy. And so what I'm saying is, I assume Claiborne has a good deal of asset. I assume the people who would be for this and proposing, like passing that with their SPS upvotes are going to be the sort of people who have a ton of assets. They are going to be the sort of people who would like to rent substantial amount of cards, or, sell cards, and reprice them to get the most. Especially with rentals, you want to like regularly reprice them, because you, at one moment in the season, they're worth something, they're worth X, and then at a different moment in the season, they're worth Y. And so repricing them allows them to move and maximize your returns. And so you would think that the voices in this space, the large SPS holders, as well as the people who are going to make proposals like that go forward, are going to be the ones that would want to say no to that sort of factor. You would think, myself included. I rent cards on my secondary account, not particularly profitable, but it garners something. And part of how it maximizes the return for me is by repricing. I use XBot, I think it's XBot, yeah, to selectively reprice those assets at various times throughout the season. And so it actually is an impediment to my gains to pass something like that. And yet it's really noteworthy to see that, and I hope to see that something like that will pass, because frankly, I would rather the greater sort of the more generalized goal of not just garnering a few extra DEC for me, or extra DEC being burned per rental listing, etc. It's practically inconsequential on the individual scale, but it's significant on the general scale. Like across a community of people, hundreds or thousands of people listing cards and relisting cards, that's going to start to actually do something to DEC. Now, is it going to overnight? No, but across time. And so I can be for something like that, because I see the general positivity how it might benefit the ecosystem of Splinterlands and the tokenomics of this game, and set aside my own personal short-term impediment. These are such complicated topics because one does want their own personal betterment, right? I want to gain from the assets I own, but I also want the game to thrive long term. And there's this balance, and there's a give and take across that. And I don't actually think it's common or usual or typical for that sort of let's say for the generalized good to be focused over the personalized good. I think that's more of a blockchain based approach. That's more of the sort of individuals who understand that decentralization is revolutionary, and that, blockchain, the trustless nature of blockchain systems is powerful and revolutionary, because we actually don't want to trust. We want to come together with well-meaning, good actors, but within a trustless system where we don't have to trust, but we do trust because good relations have been built. This system is so different than any other. And I think with proposals like that, we are actually seeing a bit of that and meaningful difference. Anyways, I thought it was interesting. Okay, I realize now I gotta make my feature comments go up. Hang on, bear with me for a second here, guys. Yeah, that's the one. I think this is it. Okay, boom. There it is. Why not, with the evening to all. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Red X, yay, yay. Ambush like triggered. Gathering, good to see you, buddy. Gathering respects on your vids. You doing it, man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. And I'm really trying to stay consistent with the content, but it's been tricky lately with my life. But I am definitely, I feel like we're doing 5 to 6 videos a week rather. And I'm really trying to do the weekly lives. I think I can stay consistent with the weekly lives. Now, yesterday I had to take my little one to a doctor appointment for her eyes. All is well. For those of you who dropped a comment saying, hope she's well and thinking about you, praying about you. Yeah, Lumina's good. Her eyes are actually the way they should be. or they're as good as they used to be. They haven't gotten worse, but we had to go check. And so that interrupted the usual scheduled broadcast, but weekly with the live for the public, and also weekly for my members only. So if people want more of the sort of one-on-one content, and sometimes it's not just one-on-one because I'll have guests, Pat, but this sort of interaction with you guys, then you can check out my members page and you can get support at any level, and you'll be invited to those weeklies. Thanks, Fred. Need to send new pass swiftly to keep sediment fresh. Need this new set to get going, right? Keep sentiment fresh. I think I love how like simple conversation pieces can actually, there's real depth in something like that. There's like a one sentence, and yet we could have a 10-minute conversation about how impactful and important is it that we act now with respect to that new set. And then there's certain information that maybe you do or don't know around that. Like even the People's Guild this morning dropped a 2-hour conversation with Breaking Benjamin. I think that's his username. And so in that chat, I heard them talking about where they're at with respect to the creation of the set. Some of you probably woke up early and watched that. Others of you didn't. And so it's so interesting that a little sentence can have these deep wells. Like I might disagree that we need to act now. I actually don't. I'm with you. It would be the sooner the better, especially given this time. We've got, new advertising people coming on. Blaze, shout out to Blaze. I love that guy. He's part of the Time and Attention Guild. But also, this new vision for advertising and sort of looking at where we're going to go with those things. So we want to have a new set that we can sell, we can market in this moment. Plus, crypto being where crypto's at, man. Bitcoin just won't give up. We were at 68.5, I think, and we pulled back a little. But this, I don't know what's happening. But I love that it feels like we're poised for something really special. I don't know if I buy all the the next 6 months, 9 months are just going to be crazy for Bitcoin. And yet this thing won't roll over. And so I'm starting to become a believer. I'm not going to go buy Bitcoin, but I'm still starting to become a believer. And it makes me hopeful for what the altcoin market can do. And SPS, by the way, quietly performing so well, right? Over the last, it says 90 days, 33%, but it's actually more than that. So if we zoom in on the low part here you can see that it was at the low. No, that's a 30-day window. My bad. So on 90-day window, look at that right there. We were at 0.0454. So 4/10 of a penny, or call it, almost 5/10 of a penny if you round up. So half a penny. And now here we are at practically double that. It's just shy of double that. 9 would be double that essentially. And in the last, that's from August 4th. So, you know what I mean? That's exciting. This is exciting. And so it would be great to have that pack ready to maybe capitalize on some of what might be coming and what I think most of us think is coming. And yet there is the other side of things. There is an argument to be had, and I'm not defending it, but I want to again, such complicated waters on such a simple topic. There's arguments to say we should keep Chaos Legion in the modern longer. There's arguments to say that 33-cent packs, although they hurt, it's maybe undermines the value proposition of these assets in the game, and you can make all kinds of arguments why we should just get rid of Chaos. And I think a lot of those arguments hold a lot of water. They make a lot of sense. It is absolutely true that Chaos Legion being an affordable access point into modern it should be a selling point, or it could be a selling point in the right spokesperson's hands. You know what I mean? To see that a Max Rebellion set that's gold foil. A Max Rebellion set, regular foil, $7,400. That is crazy. To show up today and be like, yeah, you need to spend 10 grand on this card. By the way, there's SPS purchase prices in there, right? And you're going to need some of the Rift Watchers. You're going to need some of the Chaos Legion. You're going to need some of the promo cards. So $10,000 on cards. $3,000 in SPS to start playing this game at the high level. You're going to have to throw 20 grand into it. Like that's a crazy threshold of requirement to put on brand new players. I understand they don't all need to play at Diamond Champion. I get that. But I'm just saying, for how many times in life are you told that to start performing at the highest level of something, you can, but by the way, it's like 15, 20 grand. That's just an unusual thing. And yet Chaos Legion is fighting against that, or anchoring the modern experience in a financial way, or making it more attainable, more feasible, more available to a broader audience by giving a very affordable set. $685 for those amazing cards. And those Chaos, I've talked about this at length, those Chaos cards are some of the best in the game ever. The summoners, those legendaries, Lily Shieldpaw, Yasik, Possibilis, Immortalis, those are some of the best summoners in the game ever. And summoners are one of the most key pieces of the game that you can have. And then the Chaos Legion reward cards, very, very powerful. And there were so many copies of them, so they're affordable as well. And so all I'm saying is, I see a pro and a con to saying let's move on from Chaos. It's not all roses that we would close this out. There's a certain audience of players that would love to play at a high level in Modern, and they can today because of these cards. But if they arrive even in 3 months or 6 months, they will be priced out, because Rebellion's not going to, in my mind, drop down 90% in value. I think Rebellion's going to, for many reasons, and this is a separate conversation, going to stay relatively stable across the next 6 months to a year. That's my prediction for a lot of reasons. And then you add on to picturing the new set, Conclave Arcana coming in. It's going to be a $5,000 to $10,000 set as well. We know that because the cards are going to be $4 a pack. It's going to be something like that. I don't know the exact price point. If it's $4 a pack, and you're going to need probably 2,000 packs or something like that, is my guess, which is just a guess. You're talking, $20,000 for just the cards to maximize those two key editions. And so, how are we changing, and who are we now? Which audiences are we going to move toward and away from once Chaos Legion moves away? I'm not saying we should keep it longer. I want that new set to come. I think it makes them, as you take in all the considerations, the pros, the cons, the complicating factors, sort of the unintended consequences, but maybe those that could be expected. I still think you're right. Let's move on. It's great to move on. It's going to be exciting to move on. And you're right. It's about acting while the sentiment is fresh. People are growing in sort of positivity in this moment toward this game, and we want to keep that ball rolling. Eloise is so wanted, but will be fun days ahead. I think you're saying it's deeply desirable, but almost someone's going to get it. That must be what you're pointing to, and I think you're right. It's going to be really crazy to see how those end up selling. I heard Matt talking with. No, who did I hear talking about this? Hello is the Hollow is going to be a very expensive card. And yeah, Matt was talking with Baby Omega and Stever, and they talked a little bit about what sort of auction approaches could have been done to maximize the returns. And they were talking about how a Dutch auction might have made more money. I'm pretty sure that's going to sell. It's going to be good. It's going to be expensive. There was some implication, or I don't want to say that they weren't skeptical about Hello is the Hollow's sale potential, but there was one point where they said, what if only the first people buy it for a lot of money, and then it kind of goes quiet because less people want to buy it, and then the people toward the end get some really affordable copies. That's theoretically possible, but when you understand that there's only going to be 100 copies of this card, 100 copies of this card, and this card is obviously crazy powerful. These abilities are nuts. I think this is going to make games be much faster. this is going to take away, like, one of the implications that I see this having on the meta is going to move us away from these like long sustained battles that we sometimes see. Thinking of cards like Tofu that just really want to build this, like, I'm going to just outlive you. I'm going to outlive you, or Lily Shieldpaw with the right tank in the front line with sustains and immunities, etc. That is a significant approach in this game. I'm just going to outlive you, and with Tofu, my Thorns damage is going to chip you down some way or another, and I'm probably going to win like long term with triages, repairs, etc. But Heloise the Hollow kind of fights back against that, because all of your attackers are going to attack me, and I'm going to attack your weakest spots. And when you attack me and kill me, that's okay, because I'm actually going to return the damage, and I'm probably going to kill you. Now, that means, in my mind, we move away from 20-round matches and we move toward 4 or 5-round matches. Like, not that this card transforms the entire meta overnight, but do you see how this pushes the needle? Like, it says, I will not sit there for a 20-round match. Nothing about this card is intended for the 20-round match. It is calling every attacker. It has no sustainability. It, like, in the sense of shield, void, phase, everything's coming at me and everything will kill me. And when it kills me, I'm going to return fire in a big way. Now, force fields will slow that return fire down. It's not called return fire, but that my Heloise the Hollow attacking you will be impeded, of course, by missed attacks, by force fields, by shields, by one armor would stop a huge 8-bomb because I don't have piercing. But you see my point. A card like this calls everyone at it and says, when you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And if you're not prepared, I'm going to delete characters. And by the way, my card comes back to life when it falls. Yours doesn't, unless we're talking Rooney. And so for all those reasons, I think cards like this radically transform a little bit of how we play. And it's one card, but I don't think for a second that those would be the only cards with those abilities. Maybe this kit, of course, this kit should be unique, but these should come out more. I would hope to see a couple more of these, at least one more of these at a lower level, like a 4-mana monster that doesn't do an 8-bomb, but has something like that 100% retaliate on death, or maybe another card that has that, or both. The combination of both is crazy. That's the weird thing. No, the combination of the 3 is crazy. Because the taunt says, everybody come at me, and this says, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to throw back and probably kill you when you come at me. And finally, this says, I'm not even done when you kill me, but you are. And so I just feel like that radically changes some things around. So I do think Heloise the Hollow is going to be sold easily and for high prices. 100 copies. 100 copies is nothing. Like, I mean, I think from a data perspective, like I get 100 to 300 views on a video, every video, which means there's at least 100 people out there that love this thing. And no matter what I talk about, you guys show up and listen. Like, I could come on here and just tell you about my life, but you'll tune in because I might mention Splinterlands because you love Splinterlands. And that's my audience. But then I actually know that guys like Aftersounds have many similar names, but some distinct ones. And I could do that for every content creator, People's Guild, Gathering, and on and on and on. That means there's more than just the community members that are here on this channel right now. There's this broad community, and I believe it's several thousand people. I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 people are here playing this game regularly now. Of those, is it 10% of them that have big money? Like big money being a few grand to throw at something like that? I bet it is. I bet it is something like 10%. You know, do we have I'm saying we have 300 to 500 people who have thousands of dollars to spend on cards that they think are meaningful in this game because they believe it's fun and it's rewarding and it has a future. So cards that move the needle are going to be bought up. And I think I don't even need to, I'm speculating about Heloise the Hollow, but I think I can prove it when we look at things like the promo cards and we come in the legends, and you see the action that's happened with respect to the legends, the leaderboard. I didn't grab the total at the end of the last one. Are we? When did it end? That's it. I didn't see the data rate at the end of the Night Stalker. I don't know about these guys. The data must be out on these. I saw this, but I can't remember now. I haven't talked about them. That's another talking point that we could get into if that data is out on Discord or something. I'd love to see it. But my point is, I think we sold 90 or 100 million DC worth of value in the first phrase. And then we went 150 million DC. We ramped up. When cards are good, people show up. 150,000 DC is a significant pay. It's like $150,000, right? I gotta get this right. I know that I'm just gonna call it egg because I want to go 150 million. Is that right? 150 million. And then we times it by 0.08. It's something like DC is something like that right now. So every DC times every DC price in fiat times every DC equals 123,000 US dollars spent in the last, was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks on that one card? Well, okay, not that one card, but you know my point. I think primarily the sale was coming from the Night Stalker. And all that to say, when we have significant buyers in this space and cards, I think 100 is easy. 100 is so easy. And I said before, and I really believe this to be true, of those 300 to 500 people I just speculated we have in this game that are whales, that have big money, that are willing to chase after cool assets that change the game, and this is one of those assets, I think at least some of them would want to have more than one of these. That's the crazy thing too. And throw in the lottery aspect of 5 of these 100 are going to be gold foils. 5. That is such a crazy scarcity. It is nuts. So I think you have investor potential, you have collector potential, you have, whales who want more than one of them. We have probably an audience that's too big. Even if there were 500 of these, I think it would be fine. But 100 is the right number to create that real crazy scarcity. And it's such an appealing low number. Like to have a card that's 1 in 100, or rather a card that's 1 in 95, because there's only gonna be 95 regular foils. And a card, if you get one of those crazy gold foils, this would be like a lottery ticket. So buying one of these, in my mind, for $1,000, that's the number I keep thinking about. And it might be more, but $1,000 to me seems like a starting point from a consideration, from a dollar value. I would say these don't sell for less than $1,000. I could see them selling for $2,000 per unit. There'll be flexibility across days, but that's where my mind goes because of its functionality, its usefulness, the implications it has on what I would understand the meta to be, and the scarcity. And finally, not just the scarcity, but like the fact that 5 of them will just turn into gold foils, meaning you're going to have a 1 of 5 card in Splinterlands. That is a powerful card. Now, if it was a worthless card, 1 of 5, who cares? But it's not going to be a worthless card. It's going to be a very powerful card. If you get a gold foil, this thing, I wouldn't be surprised if it lists. There probably won't be one that lists. That's the thing. If you're a collector, you're going to need to buy more than one of these because you want that gold foil, and that's going to mean you're going to have people chasing. I bet there's 10 to 20 people who chase more than one of these things. So I'm super excited for that. And I don't really I obviously don't fall in the camp that has any fear or concern about these not moving or not selling for good prices. And I was kind of a little bit surprised to hear, I think it might have been Baby Omega, and maybe they're just having a good conversation with Matt. I don't know. I haven't talked to them about this directly, but it's kind of a good conversation to have with Matt, even if you don't really think it's not going to move. So maybe that's where it comes from. But if there's any doubt in my mind, that thing's sold. Like, it's just that they're going to move. They're going to be done. It's going to go so good. It's going to go so well. It's going to blow the lid off. It's going to be an advertising piece for the game. It's going to draw eyeballs. It's this limited, scarce, exciting, NFT in this blockchain game that, hey, it's been around for how many years and what's going on over there? It's going to, like, to me, that is one of the coolest ideas Matt's had in a long time, or the game has brought forward in a long time. Dr. Nick Riviera. Love it. Love that, Jenkins. Thank you, Bell. Sup, good to see you, brother. Brazen Blaze, hi everyone. Oscar, good to see you, bud. Just burned my final gold foil cards. They're finally out of the game. Just need to switch the DC for Litecoin and Hive Engine. So, burning and leaving, I guess. Interesting moment to try to pull those plays. I guess if you're just burning cards, the cost is the cost. It's not like the number goes up or down. It's nice to hear stories about people extracting some value, because frankly, that is one of the pieces that make this game special. So good for you, pal. Gathering. People will be in shock when Chaos rotates out and they are forced to use Rebellion Summoners. That's why I'm buying out the common dual Summoners when I can. Dragon, good to see you, pal. Thanks for coming by. I want to grab more comments because there's a few more in there, and I wanted to say hi to some of you guys out there. But I really want to sit on this comment for a minute. People will be shocked. We talked about it earlier. I'm not going to rehash the whole conversation, but I do think he's right that we are going to be in shock when Chaos Legion rotates out, and you're going to want to play in Modern, but you're going to find that some of the things you relied on significantly are suddenly gone, and the replacements, or not the replacements, but the alternatives that let you have that high level of competition in Modern are way more expensive, 10 times more expensive. And so I think that is a shock that's coming, and it's foreseeable. And finally, you're right about your approach to the dual summoners. Sad thing is, and this is kind of the final note I want to bring on that one point, is that you're not the only one who sees that. When we look at the summoners from Rebellion and we look at just reg foil, I recently bought my Dolfar Darflak for 18 cents per BCX, I think. I'll look that up in a minute because Peak Monster shows it. Actually, let's come in here to my cards. I want to be right about this. I'm pretty sure it was 18 to 20 cents each. Cool. So, 400 BCX purchased at $69.90 with 400 BCX. So there you go. So I paid for 400 BCX. Oh, the person who sold it to me bought it for $40 and sold it to me for $70. Oh, Bulldog had this card at one point. I love this history, by the way. It didn't always used to tell us this, but I love it. I love that that's part of there's so much to talk about, guys. I don't want to lose track of my point here on these common summoners being an opportunity, but also people starting to snag them and starting to disappear. But I want to touch on side note. This data being trackable and really revealable is exciting to some people like me. It's kind of a nerdy thing, but I love who had this before me. I want to know how many times has my Rooney killed somebody and who is it killed? How cool would stuff like that be? And I think blockchain allows us to track that. I might be in over my head on like the technological side of things, but if that's possible, think how cool that would be. I love looking at stuff like that. And I think probably I'm not the only one. And Matt said in that conversation with Stever that the cards will be numbered. So the Helloys of the Hollows are going to be numbered, and moving forward with Conclave Arcana, that they want to do that as well. And so more and more data tracking is going to come to the game, and I think there'll be a certain community of people who are going to just geek out over that stuff. As I said earlier, Splinter Coach is like a piece of that for me, and so we can talk more about that too later. There's so much to get into. It really is. But circling back, finishing my thought, these commons are amazing, and their price is spiking rapidly. I think that's a function of a couple pieces. A lot of people thought, including me initially, when the Rebellion airdrops end, these cards are going to just disappear in value. They're going to just fall off the market. the floor will just evaporate beneath them. But it hasn't been so. And more recently, I want to say 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, I started saying, well, maybe is that really going to be the way it goes? Because the altcoin market seems to be setting up for something special. And if so, then I think there'll be more liquidity and value to be thrown around at card assets. And if Chaos Legion is moving out because of the reasons we just said it's going to, because of Conclave Arcana, I think the desirability to succeed in Modern is going to be dependent largely on Rebellion. So then that means Rebellion's going to hold value. Plus Rebellion, by the way, is actually going to be functional in the next Mage Wagon airdrops with Conclave Arcana at a lesser rate than the Conclave cards. But all these things point to a reason for stability, not drop off in price. And the data, forget about the justifications, the data seems to show it. Like Dolfar cost me, I said $69.90. We go $69.90 divided by 400, 17.5 cents per BCX. And here we are now at 35 for the low buy. And we're going to look at something else here in a moment too. Hang on. We click on Dolfar and we see, can we even buy 400? Looks like we can. Yeah, we can. But what would it cost us if we bought 400 BCX? So if we bought 400 BCX today, we're going to get pay $180. Like, that is such a crazy increase from like literally 2 weeks ago. When I came on and said, Rebellion is probably going to hold some value. And I actually said that before that, by the way. If you go back and look at my videos on bargain hunting, if you look at my videos on, anything to do with respect to Rebellion, I talk about these cards and why I think they're holding value, maybe even after the airdrops end, and as I just articulated a moment ago. But then cards, why would a card like this be, so priced? Again, it's not just death. You need a death summoner. You've got one here. You need a fire summoner. You got one here. So for $180, I don't know if that's a good price. I'm not trying to sell you on it today. I'm just saying you have to look at what would it cost me to get a Modern League summoner for the death team and then a different one for the fire team, or this guy who's going to cover both. And it's better than that too, because the combination between fire and death, right? It gives you that. It doesn't have the stat buff, it doesn't have an ability buff, but the cross pollination between those two splinters can be interesting in some respects. Pretty interesting and exciting from a sneak play. If fire team's available but death's not, I can play Night Stalker with this one summoner. Night Stalker I have, maybe you don't, super powerful. You know what I mean? So like, clearly a lot of people agree with you, Gathering. I would be inclined to do the same thing, to buy them as well. I do want them. Like the other day when I bought them, you go back and look at the video when I talk about how I bought this card, the market was totally different. It might have been 20 cents for some of these. Unda, 47 cents. If I want 400 of you, what is that going to cost me? And here's the thing. Look at that, $200. You could do it, but $200. There will be theoretically more copies of these cards that come to the market. You can buy packs, right? Well, you can buy them at least. Actually, when officially can we no longer buy packs? I don't know. But, there's access points through that or through the non-card market where you can buy other items. Packs from player to player, $3.35 per pack. And so new cards can come to the market through that, and that can affect prices. But I don't think we're no longer at a place where these cards can be printed in a crazy radical way, because so many have already been burnt or stored away in the DAO. And so they're always going to be scarce. They're going to be super scarce. And so, yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. I don't have a ton of money, so I have to use my funds as best I can, and ways to find ways to flip. It does work. Absolutely it does. Red says, I know Manser appreciated that past proposal, and the enthusiasm will carry in the long run, some good things forming in this project. I'm DEC bullish. Yeah, me too. I think DEC is like an easy, this is every time I ever talk about anything around tokenomics or my future predictions for price, you guys know, and if you don't know, hear me. I speak these things not as advice, but out of a place of I want to share my confidence. My confidence for me and my money, knowing my story and my history and where I'm at, would say that I would be confident in holding DEC, and I would consider it a 20% gain, meaning like a lock, meaning like DEC at 800 Splintoshis, in my mind, will return to 1,000. It will return to peg, which is, a 20% gain. That's a crazy opportunity. Now, is there a risk with regard to Splinterlands? Is there a possibility that could blow up in your face? Yeah, there is with any investment. And that's why it's not advice. It's just, I'm sharing my confidence. I think it will go to the peg. And so I would say that is a strong hold. I think it's probably more logical if you believe in the game to hold SPS, because the multipliers there are probably greater. And yet, yeah, DEC, I believe. And also I loved seeing Mansor's response to that too. There was a sense of gratitude. He seems like a very cool guy. I don't know him at all. I met him very briefly at Splinterfest. Great guy. Glamour speculation. Yeah, I'm less interested in that. Although I'm interested from a perspective of I know people will like that. I'm certain people will like that. I'm just maybe not one of those people. When I play other games, Apex Legends, Fallout 76, my approach to paying for extras to look different than you or to have the cool new skin, I will only do it if I earn that for free. And I know I can pay for the glamour using Glint, for instance, but from my perspective, that's not free, because that Glint can go towards card assets, which, if I don't have them maxed out, is monetary. What I'm saying, every Soulbound reward card is a monetary reward, even though it's Soulbound, because one, it can be made transferable if it's financially viable for me to do so. And that might be profitable, as has been seen with Rebellion, as was seen with Chaos Legion at times. And aside from that, it's also monetary because making myself have the highest level of Soulbound reward cards allows me to have an edge over people who don't, meaning I can win more, meaning I can extract more SPS. So it's monetary in nature, meaning if I have Glint, spending on glamour would be superfluous or like a secondary consideration. I wouldn't do it unless, even though I like that kind of thing, and I know others will. I love it. It's a good new thing for the team to do. It's a great new thing for the game. People will enjoy it, and it will draw spending of Glint, and that's cool. And we might even have some future where we can burn SPS to get Glint, which they've talked about a little bit, and they've expressed some hesitation over, but they might. And so that would be maybe a mechanism by which we would see more flywheel stuff happening, which is really cool. But I would never spend any money on Glint that wasn't providing me a fundamental financial opportunity until such time that I had satisfied all those opportunities first. Every card that helps me win, I need to have before I get any sort of skin, if you see what I mean. It's going to be amazing. 5 days are going to be amazing. I think, are you talking about I wonder which 5 days you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. The auction for 100 days through quarter 125 bullish strategy forming. Yeah, absolutely, man. By day 90 or so, those cards will be a lot cheaper. So gathering, I think you're speaking of Hello is the Hollow, and you're saying like the last 10 might be cheaper. I just don't think so. I mean, for one thing, so look at it this way. If the Hello is the Hollow sale is going well, we should be attracting a lot of attention, because if we're talking about the numbers I just shared, we're talking about across 100 days, $100,000 or maybe $200,000 being spent on NFTs in Splinterlands. That's a lot of money. That's eyeballs. That's the first piece. The second piece is when regular foils turn to gold foils, the sale pitch that happens when those excited participants market that reality. When something goes good, you tell 10 friends, they tell 10 friends. Like that's going to be super exciting and drawing eyeballs. And finally, I imagine not all the gold foils will be dropped within the first 90 days. I hope it would be really logical if the gold foils were sporadic, but there was and they're random, but there should be like a function of there's a greater probability of them dropping toward the end. So meaning maybe it's like a, you know, if you want to say a 2%, how does that work? So it's a 5% chance that they're going to turn gold foil because there's 100 copies and five of them are going to be gold foil. But what if it was like, instead of 5% on day one, maybe it's 4.75% and then 4.65% and so on. I don't know if that makes sense, but do you see what I would be driving at? I'd be driving at, if there's 10 days left and there's 2 gold foils remaining, I mean, you're not going to slow down. And finally, I think there'll be some excitement toward having the 100th card, 100 of 100. And also, I think the individuals who come in and don't get their card that they want, they've been pricing for a while, like, because not everybody's going to come in and throw everything at every day. They're not going to come in and I'm going to spend $10,000. No one else spend any money. I'm just going to win today, and then tomorrow you'll win. It's going to be more like, I'm going to try and lowball and win it for $500, and that doesn't work. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to try again tomorrow. There's going to be at least some audience of people that do that until the very end, trying to sneak and like grab that last one, get it for that cheapest dollar value. And those people, if they're serious about wanting it, are going to become more and more active toward the tail end of the sale. You see? Because they want it, they just want to get a good price for it. But now 90 days are gone and you still don't have it, you're going to start raising what you would be willing to pay. So I don't agree. Monsieur Caruso, hola. Are you planning to buy it? Any chance of to get one? I would love to. I'm not certain what's going to happen on that one. Like I say, for $2,000, I'm a no. You know, if I'm right about that valuation, I'm a no. Would love to though, man. What a cool card. And the fact that it's a 5% possibility of it becoming a gold foil, which to me is like a 1 in 100 lottery ticket. Like it's 5 in 100. It's a 1 in 20 lottery ticket. Like 1 in 20 people is going to pay for a regular foil and they're going to get a gold foil. And that could be, I bet, 5 times, 10 times more expensive. So if they sell for 2,000, I bet the gold foil sells for 20. If they sell for 1,000, I bet the gold foil sells for 10. So I'm saying it's very exciting and enticing. Even for me, I would be playing from a perspective of like, I just need to see if I'm going to get a gold foil. Like that would be so worth trying for in my mind. Because I also believe in the game and I also enjoy the fun and I also see the card's utility. And so just like I talk about when I talk about flipping cards, your strategy towards which card you acquire should be determined based on how much you can invest, what is the card's price, what is the card's value, what is your long-term perspective, and would you see utility in having it if you couldn't flip it? That's one like big asterisk. If you ever buy a card that you want to get rid of immediately, you're making a big mistake. If you buy cards that you think, wow, I could sell it for more, probably, maybe. Like I feel kind of confident about that, but I'm also okay with just sitting on it. That is the posture. Do you see? That's the approach. Those assets that you can actually genuinely say that to yourself, I'm willing to hold it for a long time, but I would love to sell it. That's the safe approach. That's the prudent approach. That's the investment that makes sense. If you can't say that, you probably shouldn't buy it. To me, depending on what my other crypto is doing, I might be able to say yes to that conversation. Gathering. Wait until they put serialized max level cards in packs. People that pull 1 of 1. Yeah. Yes. Totally. Yeah, I really hope they see this. You just would get a max level card in your pack. There'd be 1 of 1. Yes, dude. Of course, it's a brilliant idea. Gathering. I haven't heard them talk about that. But we've talked about it. And we see it in so many spaces. Like it's not an exclusively like, it's not a thing that's Gathering just thought of. This is a thing that exists in collectible card games. Like there was a LeBron gold card that was, I don't know what pack it was selling in, but there was 1 of 1. I saw a Netflix documentary on the the sale of it to some massive auctioneer. And so I think it was like $2 or $4 million, like a one of one that is so desired, so sought after. People buy packs upon packs chasing this thing. And the same thing happens with Pokemon, by the way. There's certain packs that'll sell for $300, $400, $500 US for a single booster pack, and because in it there might be a $5,000 chase card. And so, yes, man, yes, team Splinterlands, please. We need like one of ones to be released. That would be so cool. And I don't even know why it should be delayed. Like, it should happen with Conclave. Like, this could happen now, and it absolutely would be a genius marketing move. Birds, bees, and trees getting shut down by Nightblot. And I'm sorry, brother, you probably... Yeah, the emotes. Nightbot doesn't like emotes. I don't know why. Magic the Gathering. People are only need to buy 3 of the 5 dual summoners to cover all the splinters. That can save you money. You don't need all 5. That's a really clear, concise way of putting it. If you want to play in Modern and you want to do so affordably, you should look at all your options. But for instance, you know, water, death, earth, life. Who's left? Fire. It looks like I might, if I was going to do it right now, and you'd want to look at the prices of everything. You'd want to look at the reg foil prices. You want to look at the gold foil prices. But I would probably strongly consider Dolphor, because he's still one of the cheapest. Okay, I definitely consider Brewmaster, because is he the cheapest? He's the cheapest double, $111 instead of $180 with Dolphar. You get access to 2 splinters, which is great. This is the same 2 splinters, though, that you get access to with Drath. And I think Drath is an exceptional card that's worth, you know, extra $50, $60. This card is exceptional. My win rate on Drath is really, really strong. Let me show you this. So my Drath win rate, you know, okay. Where are you at? I know you're... What's going on right now? Look at this. Okay, I'm really surprised that I'm at 24 on this list of summoners, but look at this win rate. And this is current month only. 54 and 34. 614 win rate. 614 is a crazy win rate. And this month, in the last 24 days, I played this 90 times. So 24 days, that's like five matches a day is Draft, right? Is that right? Let's do the math quick. So 54 wins plus 34 losses is 88 matches, and we go ahead and we divide by divide by 24 days. So we're playing this one summoner 3.5 times, 4 times a day. Out of 20 matches, I have access to 50 summoners. Okay, do I have, like, from the same perspective, what are my other summoners like? What's my next? I'm looking for my next rebellion. Come back here. Watching. Look at my next rebellion summoner. I think it's probably a Lorcus. There he is, Lorcus, 18 and 14. 18 and 14, and that's about 2 weeks of data. I got that on I think the 13th, so that's 11 days of data. So 18 wins plus 14 losses. And we divide that by 13. So 2.5. Okay. That tells me 2 things. The first is that Drath is exceptional. The win rate it's performing substantially across a lot of circumstances. It's winning significantly, 61% win rate in many, many circumstances. Lorcas has got a strong win rate too, but it's a bit more niche. Playing 2.5 times a day instead of 3.5 times a day. Statistically significant amount of utility, let's say. But there's Dolfar. Dolfar, same period of time, only 14 matches. So maybe it's getting one match a day, and it's doing well with that one match. But if you had access, if you wanted to have to sort of strengthen your access to the game while minimizing the cost, you would definitely want to look at the summoners that do 2 splinters. And you might actually look at Drath as opposed to some of the commons. But the common is pretty exciting because of the mana. But I think if I was going to pay, if you're going like 150, I think I said $150 to get a Dolfar. Yeah, $180 to get Dolfar. Like, okay, simmer down now. We got to go look and see what Lorcas is going for. Because Lorcas is, oh, there's only 2 copies of Lorcas. Are you kidding me? Okay, there's 5 copies, but wow. Wow. Guys, Rebellion is so exciting. These prices are so ready to explode. Like, there's such limited, there's so much functionality. And frankly, the functionality is growing. How is it growing? It's growing because these are going to form a bigger piece of what it means to win in Modern in 3 months. Or whenever Conclave Arcana launches. Why? Because when Conclave Arcana launches, what you're going to see is you have 2 access points to play in Modern: Rebellion and Conclave. Conclave will be a brand new pack sold for $4 a pack, and I think you're going to need 2,000 to 3,000 packs to get a max level set. And there won't be cards on the marketplace because they just aren't sold yet. So I'm saying to get the highest level of play, you're going to be spending $12,000, $10,000 to $12,000, I bet, to have that Conclave Arcana set. Simultaneously, Rebellion, which is currently $7,500, and maybe even if it holds value or stays stable, you're still cheaper. It's cheaper than Conclave Arcana. Plus, with Conclave Arcana, there's a sense of it could sell more than 1.5 million packs or 1.2 million packs, meaning the value proposition long term for Conclave, while still exciting, it's totally exciting, will be slightly less exciting than Rebellion, because with Rebellion, you know that they're always going to be relatively limited. They're always going to be scarce because most were already burned. So you've got this historical confidence that they're always, because of what happened, they're always going to be scarce. They're great cards. They're powerful cards. They're desirable. They help me win. They're cheaper, and they're probably going to hold value better across multiple years. And they're going to be in Modern for at least 2 years, I would think. And so for all those reasons, I think, you would want to look at these cards. Make so much sense to look at. And yes, these cards are obviously a strong consideration, but for $180 Dolfar, or for Lorcas, if you can get them, you got to go Lorcas. And same with, I would go Drath over Brewmaster, but Brewmaster is 110 and Drath is 180. I still might pick Drath. So I think these cards, all of them, will go up. But I think you just saw a doubling in price on some of these commons because they appeal to a broader audience. They were cheaper, $70, $80 to get a max summoner that applies to 2 different splinters. That was exciting, and that got bought up. The prices doubled overnight, and now I think you're going to see these aren't going to sell for 35 cents. Not unless, well, Lorcas is gone off the market, so that changes the picture a bit. But Brewmaster won't sell for 26 cents per, while Drath exists for, $50 more. And by the way, the numbers can be even more interesting because, you only really need 3 of them for many of you, or 6 of them for many of you, to really enjoy this card and play at a high level or an enjoyable level. Brewmaster, yes, it's the same thing is true, but if you want to get into gold, you're going to need 220. So you're talking $60 versus, let's say we want to go to gold, $100. So there's so many ways to break the data down and look at which angle would make most sense. But I do believe these legendary summoners are due for another tick up in price point. I think justified by these guys going, wow, they just doubled in price. I'm interested in getting a new summoner. I might as well buy the legendary because the price is only a little bit more and they're so much better. But then what'll happen is these prices will tick up and these might fall back down, and that could be a moment. Or if these hold stable, everything just might inch up. It's so exciting and it's very bullish. There are 95 regular and 5 gold predefined. Yes, there are, Paul. You're right. But it isn't like the 5th sale of Hello is the Hollow will be gold foil. It's random every time with a certainty, with a mathematical certainty that only 5 of them will be gold. Otherwise what would happen is on the gold foiled sale day, we would see an increased price point. But there's a better sale or excitement or eagerness if you let it be a lottery ticket. And so it isn't just on the 10th day we'll sell a gold foil, and on the 20th day we'll sell a gold foil, or rather on the 20th day we'll sell a gold foil, on the 40th, 60th, 80th, 100th. That would be interesting, but I think you would see less speculation from the community of interested parties than if you let the 5% just happen when it happens, and that using math to ensure that it is only 5. Like, I think you could conceivably have the first 5 sales be gold foil. And if that happened, there would be no more, I think would be the plan. I haven't heard anyone from the team speak on this, so I'm just speaking out loud what I imagine is true. I opened 20 Gladius cases last night this morning. Says Birds, Bees, and Trees. Good for you, pal. Gladius are powerful and impactful, and they matter. Oski, how many times did you use Drath with Stalker? This may be where the win rate comes from. I use Stalker with both. Remember, Stalker is both fire and death. And so in different contexts, I will use one or the other. But yeah, that's an interesting question. And I love it. Let's look at, first of all, Drath. I bet you're right. I bet my Drath is primarily played with. It's just loading right now. I may need to relog in or whatever. Give me a second, guys. We'll give it a second. But yeah, I do use Drath with both. And I find I use them in very different ways with both. The selective taunt with Drath is very powerful in conjunction with Night Stalker. Because I'm going to move away from the site. Hopefully it'll just in the background load up and we'll... wonder if I could feature any battles. Here's a win that I did 3 hours ago in Modern. Using Lorcus and Night Stalker. This is such a crazy battle, actually. Let's just watch this one. It's not going to feature Night Stalker very well, for reasons you'll see in a second. Let's slow this down. 2 speed. Okay. So it's not going to feature Night Stalker very well. It should, but it's not. I'm thinking delete, significant damage. Watch what happens. We have Scattershot Yasik over here, and it's a trample rule set, Stampede with the Enrage. So watch this. Actually, before I show the battle, I love how Tactics has changed the game. I did a video on this. Check it out. Tactics Transform Splinterlands. That's what it's called. But here I could, my opponent has Coral Lurker. I could bring in, I often use Life Leech. Life Leech with the Night Stalker is significant because I can, it's relatively vulnerable, but I can sustain myself because of the Life Leech. It's also pretty interesting to drop trample because he has a taunt. So the taunt is going to bring my attack to the first position, and I might get a trample happening. So what do I use? But also the fury is really important because he has a taunting monster, and so which makes more sense? And you get that 40 seconds to think through what is my opponent's win condition and how do I counter it with these tactics. That is so exciting and so much fun. Let's watch the battle though. So right out the gate, massive bomb, and look at this. Delete the Night Stalker right out the gate before he even moves. But things aren't looking so good. The thorns damage, but look at the melee. Everybody's enraging. Huge 8 bomb. Would have got a crazy trample kill if the thorns on the Coral Lurker didn't activate. Actually, pause. The thorns on the Coral Lurker. Check that out. My tank, my first position tank, had trample, killed the Coral Lurker with 1 hit. I had 1 hit point. The Coral Lurker's thorns damage procced against me, killing me. With Night Stalker, the same thing doesn't happen. Execute works differently than trample does. Execute, the thorn damage is delayed, and it will not damage me with the thorns damage until I'm done my sequence of execution attacks. I think that's a bug. I think that's a mistake, because trample either it's a bug when my I gotta go back. I gotta show this again. When my what is he called? Chaos Knight? Chaos Orc. When my Chaos Orc dies due to thorns on Coral Lurker, it dies without trampling. If trample is supposed to happen and then thorns happens when my attack sequence is complete, this happens incorrectly. So I'm saying the thorns damage kills me, and either the thorns damage should have killed me or it shouldn't, but it shouldn't be both, because with Night Stalker, the thorns damage is waiting. With Orc, it's happening right away. Right now, we're gonna hit him, and we're gonna die from the thorns. We're not gonna hit him and go through killing. The thorns damage hits me when I hit the thorn. That makes sense intuitively, but it is not how it works with execute. But watch this. Are we done? We are not done. This card is so good. Arachne Thug is a card that I really value, and I play a lot. And with good reason, man. Look at that. That turned around in a hurry. I bet you haven't seen a trample that effective in a while. This conjunction of, trample with enrage is nuts. Anyways, so Lorcus is a great card, but that is a thing I noticed recently, and I might be able to feature the... There was a battle I recorded recently using my Night Stalker, and my thorns... I executed before the thorns hurt me. Now I think that's a mistake. So, coming back to the comment though, Oski was saying, is it because of the... Yeah, I mean, I wish I could show you. It depends. The only way to really understand that, answer your question, is if the data from Splinter Coach pops up. It looks like it's not loading for some reason. Current month, overall. Let's go into monsters. Look at Night Stalker. Current month. Night Reaper is my number. Oh, that's my lowest one. Night Stalker is my number 1 monster with the name Night in it for the month. 37 and 23. There's eight of them, which is meaningful. It's like eight monsters with the word Night in it, and this is the monster that has the highest win rate of all of them. 37 and 23. Am I showing the right window here? Hang on. Let me show you this. So my Night Stalker with 37 and 23 is a 617 win rate. That's crazy. That's crazy. And to bring it back a little bit to the data, we've played this 60 times. So we're playing it about 2.5, or we're playing it about three times a day, Night Stalker. over the last. No, I haven't had it for 24 days. I've had the Night Stalker for 12 days. No, 11 days. Okay, so I got to do the math here. 37 wins plus 23 losses, 60 matches divided by 11 days. Dude, I'm playing this card 5.5 times a day. Out of 20 matches, I'm playing this 1 in 4 battles. That is crazy. Across any length of time, the Night Stalker is rapidly going to be my most played card. Like, I don't know if there's another card. Let's see. I guess there would be, wouldn't there? Most played. The Usher Constantia, 61. What else? Okay. Uraeus, 80 or 79. Almo Cambio, because these are wild plays, though, right? Dr. Blight. Look at Dr. Blight, dude. Okay, but hang on a second. That's not 11 days. That's not 11 days. The Dr. Blight data stems back all the way to October 1st. So we're talking 24 days of data. So, and you know what? Here, I got to show you. I know I'm switching between screens here. Look at Dr. Blight data. Go that way. Dr. Blight data, 82 wins and 50 losses. Then we come back to the calculator, calculator. Dr. Blight has 82 wins and 50 losses. And this is my most played card this month with a 62% win rate. So 132 matches across 24 days divided by 24. So I'm playing Dr. Blight a fraction more than I'm playing my Night Stalker. A fraction. The Night Stalker was 5.45 or something. The Night Stalker is going to be the most played card it's going to rocket up to the top of functionality in terms of like the data tracking and what it's going to reveal and how often it wins, and the win rate is practically the same. 621 versus 617. Night Stalker is literally, if not the best card in the game, it's the second best card in the game. If not the best card in the game, it's the best melee card in the game. That's crazy. That's crazy. And can we look in a bit deeper and see? Drop comment. Please. I'm hoping Splinter Coach will show me. Come on, let me see the Night Stalker stuff. Yes, let's go. So when I play Night Stalker, and this image is broken because they just don't have the Night Stalker image yet uploaded or whatever. That's all. But or something's wrong with the link or whatever. So anyways, this is my Night Stalker, and we're at 37.23. Like I said, 613 lifetime, but current month is 610. Let's see mana cap. Where's this thing working? Obviously, it works in the low. I play it in low mana ranges. We're 727 win rate in the lowest mana cap. 727. That's such a ridiculous win rate. Look at this too, dude. In that mid range, we're still crushing. Where does it not work? Okay, 50 to 60. It's like a bit of a stretch because you got some big beastie monsters with huge hit points, and so it just becomes a little less effective because part of its power is when my opponent's monsters have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hit points, and I can bring you down, and I can get that second attack from the execute. But when you have 50 or 60 mana on your team, and probably 99 is the same. Yeah, when my opponent has 99 mana, their monsters are going to have big hit point pools. So my damage impact is not as substantial, and it's not likely to bring you to an execute susceptibility. And so everything under 49 mana, this card works in 70% of the games. It's crazy. And so I've been playing it with Core Lurker to give it breathing room. And I also, this combination is less about the breathing room, but that's a piece of it. The taunt from the Core Lurker works really well with Wrath, Squirrel Summoner. because you get taunt with dodge, phase, and flight, because you get flight from the summoner. And then you bring in speed manipulation and you're just like, watch out. And of course, yeah, Ravenhood Warden for the Inspire and the Protect to give a little bit more resilience from your Night Stalker. But really the big partner is the Uraeus with the 10 and 3, because you get like a little double dip on the sneak damage. They both have 4 speed, but usually I think Uraeus goes first because of the epic. So maybe he cracks the armor and then you get the Night Stalker dropping. I don't know what card this is with the 9 and 2, which is sad because I want to know what card's winning so well. Now it's probably, it says something there. It says, I can't quite read it. It says logo. Yeah, I don't know what card that is. That's sad. Because I want to know what's 9 and 2 with this card. But it's probably a Rebellion card. Maybe it's a Soulbound Reward card. I don't know. This card's crazy. What is? I want to know now what the valuation on this thing is doing, because I assume it went up actually once people really started to see what it was capable of. And I got about 20 more minutes, guys, because I'm gonna hop on with the members only after. Maybe I'll log off in about 10 more minutes. That way I can give myself time to grab a drink, and I'm hopping back on to go with members only after this. If you want to come hang out more, support the channel at whatever level you want, you can actually just join. You'll be invited. You'll have access. So anyways, Night Stalker, 331 cards available to buy a max copy right now. It has gone up. Like I bought it for 200 and I think I bought it for 180 bucks. Let's go look at my cards. Okay, so I can't quite calculate exactly what I paid. I think okay, so 14 BCX cost me $26.60. So $26.60 divided by 14. So I paid 190 times 115. So I paid 218 roughly. Almost exactly, I think, is probably the case. So 218 for my card, and it's now selling for 250. And frankly, it's one of the best cards in the game, maybe the best card in the game. That's crazy, and that's a fact. Rekla is quite meta too. Very good against Tofu. Not many on the market right now. Yeah, Rekla is one that you mentioned to me last time we hung out at Oscu, and I have been sleeping on Rekla. That's one that I definitely thought was like a just I would overlook it. Because you could to selectively apply 2 reflection shields is to avoid Thorns, Magic Reflect, Backfire, or whatever the archery send back is called. Return Fire, I think it's called. And clearly that's powerful. And you know, sometimes these tactics end up feeling like, well, it's only 2 of them. What about the rest of the team? But you have to remember that sometimes that is the whole team. Like if you played Rekla and you brought 3 cards in a lower mana match, maybe 2 of your cards are, maybe you have 2 magic monsters and 1 melee, and your opponent is set up to reflect magic at you, but they're not set up to thorns you. So does everybody need a reflection shield? No, only your magic monsters need the reflection. And so it becomes quite logical that, you know, that 2 makes sense. Like 2 is substantial, 2 is meaningful. It's not necessary to have reflection on every single card in order for the reflection to be consequential. The interesting thing about that though, 76 bucks. So 76 bucks for a max Rekla. But if you value, you know, having a summoner on death and fire, again, this is too expensive right now, I bet, in my opinion. There's too many other deals. But you have to, there's so many considerations when you decide which summoner you want to buy. What's your budget? Which splinters do you like? Do you want multiple summoners for multiple splinters? Because if you're going to spend 80 bucks on one And then you got to get a fire summoner. And let's say you want to get Nomos. What's Nomos going to cost you? Not very much, actually. I have a Nomos and I like this card. Okay, wow, look at that. That's 22 bucks. That's the deal today. Like right there, that's... Now I know Nomos is not as exciting as some of these others. But $22 summoner, you want to play in Modern for a while? This is a card that lets you put a team on the table, and it's cheap. Like I don't have, I'm tempted to buy that. What would that cost me DC wise? $27, dude. I'm buying this. I'm buying it right now. Yes, please. Yeah. I mean, I already have a max copy of that card. I just believe that these cards are, the scarcity is meaningful. And I believe that the game is going to be here for a long time. And I believe that this is one of the deals that exist in the game right now. And I don't think they always will. I don't know if that went through or not. I don't think it did. Rebellion, Summoners. You know, that might be a little blessing. As much as I think that's affordable, I already have a copy. And I'd rather spend $27 on something else, even though I like it. But that's the thing. Like, there are cards that fit a niche. So you could buy Nomos and Rekla for $100, or you could buy Dulfor for $150. Clearly, you're going to buy the others. Or you could spend $50 more and you can get what's a legendary summoner like the regular foil Drath, which wins all the time and plays, there's so many ways to do it. And you don't need them all, but you need one for every splinter or one for most splinters. And if you value Modern, you want to think that through, I guess, now, right? Because there's not going to be, we're coming to an end of these cards being issued, and we're probably also coming toward the beginning of a altcoin season. At least that's my opinion. I don't have a Prunda. Is there anybody else that's like that seems to me like a crazy deal, because it's a rare. It's the cheapest rare by a long shot. Like, it's literally half the price of a Prophet Rosa, which Prophet Rosa I play semi-regularly too. Like, let's look at my data on those two cards, because I have them. So let's come in here and go find Nomos. So look at this. Okay, so I've had Nomos. This is my lifetime record. Are you for real right now? Okay, my lifetime record with Nomos is 1-3. That is pretty wild. But there was probably a couple seasons, at least a couple seasons, where I had didn't have Nomos, or sorry, where I had Nomos and I didn't pay for Splinter Coach. So the data might not reflect everything, but clearly, like, this is not playing almost at all. I need to like test these things. Like, I need to be like, okay, Nomos is the worst. Let's just put that to test. How can I make Nomos work? And what was the other one? Prophet Rosa. I bet the data is, Prophet Rosa lifetime 12 and 12. I just won with her the other day, like yesterday. Obviously, very niche. But if you just need a summoner to play in Modern, $20 for a max level red summoner. For the next cheapest, is it this guy? $100? 110? It's a crazy difference. And then if I just go red, Greg. Yeah. $180, not available. $20. There's no other summoner in the game that's that cheap. Okay. You called the Rebellion value 12. Great call. Will Splinter Coach be analyzing Wild and Modern within their respective platforms? I think it would be a great idea that you had to improve their yeah, I haven't spoken to Geeked Out Basketball about this question, but he's a friend and I will reach out to him about that, because I actually think that's a great and important way to add value to the community, people who are interested in this data analysis. If you could separate out, okay, Lily Shield Paw works, but Lily Shieldpaw, I succeed with Lily Shieldpaw 50% of the time in Wild and 60% of the time in Modern, or vice versa. That data would really be another level of helping you think through what you wanted to do, right? And how you might approach the game. Okay. Paul says it's not random. There are five for sale on predefined days. That seems like a mistake to me. I believe you, and I believe you, but it seems like a mistake to me. They're getting this first auction out quick. They can streamline the process for later auctions. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're in the second comment, you're almost acknowledging what I'm pointing to, which is that it maybe isn't the best approach to having 5 days where they sell the gold foil, because the speculation and the anticipation of like scratching a lottery ticket is a sales pitch, is a marketing tool, and probably would move more fiat value into the pursuit of the card if we didn't know the day the gold foils dropped. I bet the gold foils drop for $8,000 to $10,000 each. $8,000. That's what I'm saying. And I bet the reg foils drop for $1,000 to $1,200 each. That's just a guess. Gathering. Wonder if someone on the team, I'm gonna have to wrap up in a minute, guys. Wondering if someone on the team knows what days the gold foils will be on. I guess they must. And Paul says they do. Arachne Thug is good with Trample. Absolutely. I love that card. I play it a lot. When is the next set coming out? They say April. I can't say I'm certain 100% on the Birds Beastries. I feel they said March or April. Yes. In fact, you know what? I'm 90% sure it's next end of March, early April. And they said in a recent post, probably April. And lastly, on that note, there's a People's Guild conversation where they were chatting. This morning was released on their channel, where they talked with Breaking Benjamin about the card design. And he talks about how many cards they have ready and how many more they need to make. And so all of that points to they got work ahead of them. They can't release it much sooner than that. Probably we're talking April. Alex, Soul Soren for you. Good for you. Intern came up with a crypto peak. Okay. Yeah, Alex is pretty sure it's April. Yeah. Okay, guys, I am going to log off because I'm in 10 minutes. I'm going live with my members only. Thank you so much for hanging out today. I will do this again next week. You're amazing. Have an awesome